I'm Katie Wells, host of the Maximized Minimalist podcast. I escaped the hamster wheel of modern-day motherhood, overwhelmed by clutter and buried under the mental load. Now I live in a home that feels calm, manageable, and made for real life. I have margin in my days, energy for who matters most, and time for slow mornings and silly dance parties in the kitchen with my family. With over 5 million listens, the show has helped women around the world turn their homes into their happy place. Around here, we simplify for more peace, more presence, and more joy. We choose grace over guilt and progress over perfection. And we believe your home should give back more than it takes. I'm here to help you do the same. Come along with me and my guests as we share the real stories, habits, and strategies that help you lighten the load from the inside out. Pull up a seat, friend, and let's do this together. Ready, set, simplify. So do you know how decluttering and simplifying is usually framed as a journey of letting go, of releasing, of getting stuff out of your house, which it obviously very much is. But I started to notice something years back in the women I work with and also in myself, that through this process, through that moment when you're like, all right, this is becoming an intentional part of my journey is simplifying my home and decluttering, right? And all of a sudden, there was this kind of shift in our buying behavior, whether it was like bringing more intention into it or not. But for a lot of us, there's like this new kind of emotion that was coming up through the process, and that was guilt. Like guilt anytime we wanted to buy something, because we are taught that simplifying and decluttering, we'll say the word simplifying, or minimalism, things like that. It's like, oh, like we don't talk about buying stuff. We only get rid of stuff. It's like this kind of, whether you've heard it on a podcast, heard it from experts, heard it from whoever, it's kind of the culture of this niche. It feels like very taboo to like buy things. In fact, that was something as I became a declutter coach I struggled with. I'm like, do I tell my followers I bought a sweatshirt even though I already have one? It's like, well, yeah, who cares? Like I bought a sweatshirt because I wanted to buy a sweatshirt. Sometimes give yourself permission to buy things, okay? If you need them, if it aligns with your goals. I'm not just saying like impulse purchases, don't change your buying habits if you don't, if you need to, and if that's a goal of yours. But I think there is this like taboo topic that ultimately a lot of us subconsciously believe buying is bad in some way, shape, or form. And that shame is so, so real. And I really want to dispel that today, because simplifying your life is not about never buying anything again. It's about, yes, like we talked about, buying better, buying smarter, more intentionally, buying in alignment with your core values, all these things. And there are things that I've bought that have truly simplified my life. Other people in my niche might disagree with me on that, but I will die on this hill. Some of these things I'm going to be sharing with you have made my habits easier. They've made my home more functional. They've made our routine smoother. They've reduced my mental load. So again, we're busy women. We have a billion things on our plates. We need to give ourselves permission to simplify through buying sometimes, because we just should. Okay. So let's dive into some of these purchases that simplified my daily life. Okay, daily life, not just like, oh, once a year I think about it or use it, like daily. Number one, hanging laundry hampers for my kiddos' bedroom. So I have two sons, they're 8 and 10 right now. Before this current season and kind of age, we had one hamper that lived on the floor. We've gone through different laundry seasons, so I'm just going to give you some context. When it was just my husband and I, we had one hamper and it was on the floor, and I really despised it, because guess what? If it's anything like your home, and I'm guilty of this too, the clothes landed on the floor next to it or on freaking top of it. And I was like, ugh, it was so triggering. I'm like, I hate this. And so I decluttered that hamper without second thought. And then my husband and I just started putting our dirty clothes immediately into the washing machine. And that was a godsend. Okay. Then our kids were getting older. We had kids, they were getting older. And I was like, all right, this isn't working, because I want my kids to learn to like not rely on me to pick up their dirty clothes and put it in the washer, not the dishwasher, the washing machine. So I thought, is there a solution out there to solve this pain point? I need a place for their dirty clothes. I already know I do not want something that lives on the floor. And so I've invested in these over the door hanging hampers. And I'm telling you what, they make me so happy. They make me so happy. My kids, number one, they use them. Now, are they perfect? Do they throw stuff on the dirty clothes on the floor sometimes? Absolutely. Yeah, it's not like it's a unicorn thing and it solved everything. But here's what I realized having these over-the-door hampers in place for the kids is that it reinforced the concept of how our physical environments influence our habits. Because they were so accessible and easy for the kids to drop their stuff into, they do it more. And so I gave myself permission to just release that. Like, even after I bought it and they were helping, I still felt bad about it. I'm like, well, a true, minimalist or simplified probably wouldn't have bought something. That guilt can linger for a long time. But I was like, okay, no, declutter that guilt. I am sold. So they make our life so much easier. Number 2, an espresso machine. I know this sounds maybe bougie, but I want to tell you a quick story. Years ago, I broke on accident. I swear it was on accident. It was our $20 glass drip coffee maker. Have you ever seen the movie A Christmas Story? So this remains one of my favorite movies of all time. We always watched it every Christmas Eve growing up. And there is a very famous scene in there. If you know, where the mom is watering a plant in the living room and she accidentally knocks over the prized leg lamp. Okay. And then the dad comes in, he rushes in, he's super upset and he goes, not a finger. Okay. This was my leg lamp, but version of that, but it was our coffee drip maker. Andrew's like, what? You broke it? Did you do that on purpose? And I was like, no, I promise. So we talked about, our knee-jerk reaction was just go to Amazon where we ordered to begin with and get a new one, right? And I was like, hold up. All right, we've talked about an espresso machine for years. So then we're like, okay, do I really need this? Does anyone need an espresso machine? Anyone can make an argument for either side. Yes, you need it. No, you don't. Most people would say, of course you don't need it. It's not an essential. So we're weighing all these things, the cost, the counter space it takes up compared to a drip maker. And ultimately, I found one on sale and I gave myself permission to go for it. Like, I don't care if whatever. I never looked back. I'm telling you, I love this thing. If you watch me on Instagram, pretty much one story a day is my espresso machine. It is like my other child. It just brings me so much joy and it doesn't talk back. It gives me coffee, which I love. So I look forward to that. And I had to reframe it too. It wasn't about me being wasteful or indulgent. This was about making a small upgrade that supports my love of coffee. So can we just give ourselves that? Honestly, we just need to. Number 3, I resisted this one for so many years. If you've been around the show long enough, you've probably heard me talk about this. Matching garage bins. Okay. We had a total mishmash of bins in the garage. If you are married or maybe you've inherited stuff from other family members, you probably have a mishmash of bins too. Especially when Andrew and I came together into one household, we all had our junk and none of it was in matching bins. A lot of it was cardboard boxes with rips out of it. That's the reality. A lot of the ones we had were broken. Some didn't have lids. It was like a large version of the cabinet drawer that has your Tupperware, right? This is like the garage storage. There's just a mishmash. And honestly, it worked okay. And I've always believed, and I still firmly do believe, you don't need to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to have a simplified, organized home. But in our current season, we have new family hobbies, which guess what? If you have hobbies, what comes along with hobbies? More stuff every single time. And my boys' sports gear growing because our lifestyle is evolving and growing. It became clear that our garage could benefit from something that functioned better instead of cardboard boxes that were falling apart and broken plastic bins. So I finally bit the bullet one day, swallowed my pride, found some bins on sale, and they look so good. I kind of secretly wanted to hate the end result and be like, see, you don't need this. And I'm not saying, again, need and want, two very different things. Need and could benefit from do two different things as part of the conversation too. But I will say it makes my brain happy. It really does. Our brains crave order. And I get it. All right. So I'm going to concede to the matching bin organizers out there. I get it. Is it a necessity? No. But more than just the looks of it, for us, it's the accessibility, and it's so much stuff fits inside the bins now. If I pull something down, I don't have to worry about it crashing and breaking my toe. So it's more functional, but also it's a pleasure to look at. So if it's a purchase that supports the flow of our home, it's really been worth every penny. But here's the thing. Not every purchase that simplifies your life is about saving time or even function. Sometimes it's about saving mental energy, right? The mental load is so huge. And I'm so glad to hear so many more experts out there talk about this mental load that a lot of us women and caregivers experience. It's like the energy you burn out managing schedules, responsibilities, raising kids, and doing all these systems on repeat. And the next few things might seem small, but I'm telling you again, the impact they've had on my peace of mind have been big. I love these because they sound just so silly. I'm going to sound dramatic for a second, but these little plastic sleeves have been game changing in our home. I bought these. I mean, that's what they are. They're reusable plastic sleeves for my kids' contribution charts. Now in our house, we call them contributions, not chores, for personal preference. I learned that from parenting expert Amy McCready. She's a good friend of mine, but let's just call it a chore chart because that's what most people will recognize. So I print off their chore chart and I slip it inside this plastic sleeve, and then they can use little dry erase markers to mark off when they're done. It's simple, it's visual, and I got tired of constantly replacing the normal paper that I was printing out regularly. And it's just like, it's a small tweak, but it makes me so happy. And the kids love marking, at least at first, they really were into marking it. And then once they got used to their contributions, they stopped marking on it. And I thought, wow, do I need to like harp on them to like mark off that they did it? But the reality is, these chore charts help our kids make it a habit, right? So they were still doing their contributions. Now they don't really mark on them as much. They do sometimes, but the whole point is they still help me simplify. And having these up has helped me from repeating myself as much and has put the responsibility more in their hands. And honestly, again, it's one of the best $10 purchases I've ever made. As my kids get older, or even like from school year to summer break, which we're on right now, I changed their chore charts because our lives look different from a realistic schedule, like or logistics. So I just slip in the new sheet I print off. And I don't know, it's one of those little things that probably listening and saying out loud sounds so silly. You're like, really, Katie, this deserved a spot on your things that simplified your life, but it has. Okay. So don't judge me. I don't judge you. Don't judge me. Okay. Next one. Visual countdown timer for my kids. I'm blushing. You can't see my face. I am blushing right now. I'm embarrassing myself. This one's for all the mamas out there trying so hard to teach time management to our kids who their brains aren't fully developed yet, right? It takes 20, 30 years for the prefrontal cortex to fully develop. And that is responsible for time management, prioritizing, planning, organizing, right? It's a big thing. So even though we recognize our kids are getting there, their brains are growing, I decided, again, speaking to Amy McCready, a parenting expert, she recommended this to me years ago to help my kids understand the concept of time. So we bought a visual countdown timer. You can get it on Amazon or whatever, wherever you want to get one. They're all over the place now. And it helped my sons understand the concept of time, yes, but actually see how much time is left for getting dressed in the morning, finishing a chore or a contribution, or even screen time. And it's been a huge help in them building independence, reducing that back and forth, like nagging, like, you've got 5 minutes before school. Like, oh my gosh, my morning used to be like taskmaster. You have 5 minutes left. You have 4 minutes left. Oh, so exhausting. Okay. And I'm not saying I don't ever remind anymore. Okay. But it's really helped. Again, the mental load, fewer reminders from me, which means I enjoy my hot coffee, my hot latte from my espresso machine. Fewer meltdowns, more calm. So many wins. Can't recommend it enough. Number 6, our digital photo frame. This, I think, has been so emotional. It's like an emotionally simplifying purchase we've made. And I will say it's one of my top prized possessions, I think, in our whole house now. Every day, this little screen rotates through photos of our happiest memories. Like, I'm tearing up. I'm watching it right now as I record this. Vacations, birthdays, baby pictures of my kids. I put some baby photos of me on there. Random sweet moments. Like, I didn't have boxes of old photos I needed to sort through and transfer on here. But if you do, I mean, it's certainly compelling from a physical clutter aspect too, to put these things on a digital photo frame. But I will say, I think a lot of us have experienced this too. There's this pressure to like digitize everything. I certainly still have my curated photo album that's physical that I will never upload onto this digital photo frame. I love flipping through an old photo book from the 90s because it's total nostalgia and it like brings me so much joy. But for all the photos sitting on your phone, you're like, do I start a chat book? Do I pay $800 for a photo book? It's like so expensive. No, just plug them in and they'll do what you want them to do anyway, which is what? Remind you of good times in life, right? All the joy. And that is like a mental weight that's gone and it's replaced with like pure joy and happiness. So now those special moments aren't hidden or buried, right? They're on display, reminding us of our favorite people, favorite memories. And again, if you do have prints, it's a really beautiful way to enjoy them without spending hours scrapbooking. Unless, of course, that's your thing, more power to you. Let's wrap it up. An Audible subscription. All right, let's be honest. I've talked about this one before. I will be fully transparent here. For years, I considered myself to be a reader because I was a reader. If you're a reader, what does a reader do? You read books. And then for me, I had my first son 10 years ago and I stopped reading, but I kept buying books. And those books would sit on my nightstand and maybe I'd read like a paragraph, but honestly, they just sat there pretty much unopened. And I was like, oh, I need to work on my parenting. So I'd buy a parenting book. I was really into that. Oh, I need to work on my screen use. So I bought a book on like how to not be on your phone so much. And ironically enough, I'd scroll on my phone while that book sat on my nightstand collecting dust. So I had the stack growing. It kind of not so subtly like shamed me and made me feel bad. I was like, oh man, I have all these books. They have all these information. I'm going to become a reader again. So it's like my habits never caught up with my reality. I was still buying books in a way that a reader would, but I wasn't consuming them. So years ago, like now I buy very few books, very few, because even if I do have the time, I prefer to be read to. Let's be real. I listen to my books in car line while I'm going to the grocery store, and I haven't really looked back. So an Audible subscription, maybe for you, it could be like a Kindle or something like that. I don't know if people still use those. Some people really love them, but give yourself permission to simplify and maybe feel less pressure to sit down and read a book. For me, it simplified the whole experience of learning and growing and helped me release the pressure of doing it like quote unquote the right way. So here is what I hope you take away from this episode. Decluttering is one tool, but thoughtful, intentional buying is another tool that you have in your, so to speak, tool belt that you can pull out when you need it. And when you give yourself permission without guilt to buy things that are going to support your season, reduce your stress, and make daily life easier, just like some of the examples I shared, that is never a step backward. That's a step toward alignment. And here's the thing. I still buy things and thinking this is going to simplify my life. And then maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it worked and then it stopped. So just because something served you or supported you or simplified your life 6 months ago or 6 years ago doesn't mean it's always going to. So that's the reality. And I think it's kind of like not enough talked about, which is why we're talking about it. Maybe for you, it's a second hamper. Maybe it's a visual timer or a digital photo frame, whatever. If it supports your life, that's what matters. So if you've been holding back from buying something you know is going to serve you, or if you're just ready to like release that guilt, do it. And buy the thing. Here's like, how many declutter experts out there are being like, hey, go buy that thing. Of course, again, use your guidelines. I know I've got plenty of episodes on my buying guidelines, which feel like very long and extensive now, but it certainly has helped me buy with more intention. So if you want more support, more encouragement, more of these very real life practical strategies, come join us inside the Clutter Cure Club. Link is in the show notes, or you can head to katiejoywells.com. And if you have a favorite purchase that has simplified your life, please tag me on Instagram. Share it with me in a story. I'd love to hear about it. You know what to do. You've got this. Ready, set, simplify. And I'll see you next week.